Laura here from Love Always Laura, and today I'm going to show you how to do your makeup with your all-in-one compact by SEINT. So first things first, if you need a color match, go to the link in my bio. I would be happy to custom color match you so that you can build your own custom compact and find out what shades would work for your skin tone, because this is a customizable palette. All of the tins are magnetic. They pop in and out of your palette, and they are custom matched to your skin tone. So when you get your tins, if you are a new customer of mine and you've just gotten your makeup, you're gonna get your tins and your makeup in these pretty little lids with these tins that you're just gonna pop the lid off and you're gonna pop it right into your palette. Now, there is no right or wrong way to put together your palette. You can put together your palette any way that you want, okay? Now, you might have started with a palette a little smaller than this one. This is a bigger palette. We do have palettes that fit 4 tins. We have palettes that fit 8 tins. And we have palettes that fit 12 tins, as well as 18 and 27, which is the one I was showing you here. Okay, now, regardless of what size palette you started with, you will have 4 key items, okay? And that is gonna be your brightening highlight, which is essentially like your concealer, your main highlight color, which is essentially like your foundation, but I don't call it a foundation because this is a 3-dimensional system. They all make up your foundation, but that is the closest to what you probably know as foundation because it matches your skin tone. Then you have a contour and a lip and cheek color, okay? I like to have a bit of a bigger palette so that I have additional lip and cheek colors, the bronzer especially, which is great in summer or in winter when you're needing a little more life into your face, illuminators, color correctors, everything that you need. Having a bigger palette just allows you to have a bit more space to grow into it. And then of course you can get eyeshadows, brow wax, eyeliner, all of the things, basically your makeup bag in the palm of your hand, okay? So let's get started with a basic application. I'm gonna show you how to put on your makeup. I'm gonna use my brushes today to put on my makeup. Sometimes you'll see me in my videos on my social media using my finger to apply the makeup, which is a really great way to show how easy this is for the average everyday makeup beginner or someone that doesn't have a ton of time. But it's also really easy to apply the makeup using your brushes. And I find you get a bit more control of how much makeup you're putting on your face when you do it this way using the brushes, okay? So first things first, the theory is still the same whether you're using your fingers and then blending it at the end or using a brush and blending as you go, okay? The first thing you're gonna start with is your contour. I'm just tapping my detail brush. I like to use my detail brush for my contour because it's got a more flat edge to apply the product. And you're just gonna chisel out your cheekbone, okay? We're gonna start with the contour. You're gonna hug that cheekbone. Contour essentially mimics a natural shadow. So you're gonna start at the top of your ear and you're gonna go into about where your eye starts, okay? And you're just gonna go a little higher than you probably think. Now, we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. This is creating shadow. It's actually adding volume back into our cheekbones. We lose volume in our face with age. And so using contour, which it might be your first time using contour with this makeup line, but using contour is actually going to help add that volume back into your face because it's gonna give the illusion of lifted features. Because we're creating those shadows in areas that we naturally already have shadows, we're just enhancing those shadows actually. We're going to lift and add volume to the areas that we want to add volume. Okay, so underneath my cheekbones, up near my hairline, if you're new to contour, think of it almost like temple to temple. You're just drawing a rainbow. That's the easiest way to remember where to place your contour up near your hairline. This will minimize the appearance of an elongated forehead or a receding hairline, hair loss with age, all of those things. By adding your contour up near your hairline, you're creating a shadow there and you're drawing attention to the center of your face and avoiding the things that we don't want people to be looking at, okay? Last but not least, you're gonna draw a little contour line gently underneath your jawline, okay? This is just going to chisel out that jawline. We lose volume in our face with age, like I was saying. And so some people will get more skin here as our skin starts to almost sag. As we get more mature skin, we start to lose that volume along our jowls there. And so when you put a bit of contour, you're creating that shadow, you're just gonna actually minimize the appearance of a double chin and give that really chiseled jawline and sculpted look to your features, okay? Now, you sometimes see me in my videos doing a little contour down my nose and underneath my lip. I'm gonna skip that step right here. That's just to add volume underneath my lip. It makes my lip appear a little more plump, and when I put it beside my nose, it's just making my nose appear more narrow. But when I use my brushes, I sometimes go back and add that at the end, okay? Now, I know I look crazy. Stick with me. It's gonna come together as we go. Okay, I'm switching to the buff brush. This is a more full coverage brush. I could still do my makeup using my same brush, or some of you might have started with your all-in-one 3D brush. Again, this is what you would use for highlights. This is what the dome end is what you would use for the contour. So you can definitely do your makeup using all-in-one brush. As an artist, I have a ton of brushes, so I sometimes flip and flop between different brushes for certain things. So for my detail brush, I use that for my contour, and for my highlight today, I'm using the buff brush, okay? Now, I'm just gonna pick up a bit of my highlight color, and this is gonna go in the areas of my face where I didn't add contour, because my contour has coverage, okay? So we're not doing your highlight color all over your face and then starting to layer contour and blush and things on top of it. We're actually gonna be placing things in a paint by numbers theory and placing the product only where it needs to go and blending as we go today to really give a one layer approach to makeup, okay? So I'm not putting this all over my face first, even though it is the closest to my skin tone. It is not like a foundation bottle where it goes all over our face and then we start layering things on top. We are doing one layer of makeup on my entire face. It's a paint by numbers. Place the products where they need to go and then blend them together. Okay, so I'm going through the other areas here, just stippling the product. I'm not picking up a lot of product. Less is more with creams. If you are new to this makeup and this is one of your first times trying it and you've gotten your creams and you're thinking, oh my goodness, they are highly pigmented. I don't think those are the right colors for my skin tone. Just trust that they are highly pigmented, which means that you're not gonna need a lot of product. Less is more. And when they are blended all together on the skin, it's gonna look much different, okay? So if I had just applied this one color or the contour on my face, it was gonna look much different than what it is when I blend all of these together. So I'm placing the products and then I'm gonna blend at the end. Now, I'm taking a brighter highlight color here. This is still a highlight color. It is 2 to 3 shades lighter than my main highlight color. And again, this is something that I would color match you to. It's similar to what you probably are used to as concealer. So in your existing makeup routine, you likely have a brighter color that you put around your eyes to awaken your eyes, cover up those dark circles, even out the skin tone on your eyelids. That would be considered as concealer. This is gonna be the same thing. We're just gonna pop it around our eyes, brighten up that skin, and make ourselves look a little more awake. Then with a brighter color, you typically want to take a bit of that down the center of your face as well. You'll notice I didn't put any product on my nose because I'm going to put that brighter color down the center of my nose. And I'm also just going to stipple a bit of it onto the center of my face and fan it out, and then on my chin as well. This is just going to brighten up my T-zone. Okay, so right down the center of my face. Now, this is where I know I look crazy. We need to do some blending. So I am going to blend it out. Now you can blend using your detail brush or your 3D brush, whatever brush you have. Again, I like to use specific brushes for certain things. The blush and bronzer brush is super fluffy and does a really great job at blending. So I am just gonna blend using the big end of the blush and bronzer brush, and I'm just blending the highlights and the contours together. You can see I'm not doing huge circle motions or anything like that. I'm just blending ever so lightly to get those colors to blend together. For the contour in particular, when you've got your contour on your cheekbone here, you just wanna make sure you're lifting up, right? We don't wanna be doing a ton of dragging down. We place that contour underneath that cheekbone for a reason. We wanna keep it where we placed it to give that lift and the illusion of a more defined cheekbone. We don't wanna do a ton of, blending down because we still want that lift of that feature there. So blending a little more here And then don't forget to blend that contour that I put underneath my jawline, okay? Now I am just gonna slightly, ever so lightly blend those two highlights together because I put a bit of a brighter highlight on the center of my face and on my chin. Now, I am gonna go back in, and this is when I'm gonna contour my nose. So I didn't contour my nose when we started. When I do use my brushes, I like to just sometimes, again, optional step, totally optional if you wanna do this step. I'm gonna use my palette here to do this, but I just picked up a little bit of contour, and I'm just gonna draw 2 lines down the sides of my nose to enhance the shadows down the sides of my nose and give a more narrow appearance to that nose. Taking a bit of the contour even on the edge, the tip of my nose, and dragging it up to my brows, okay? Now I'm just gonna use my finger, and I'm gonna take a bit of that brightening highlight and just pop it right on the top of my nose to where I want to just enhance the brightness down the bridge, okay? And then again, you can even tap this in. It is a cream product, so you can just tap that brightening highlight in to where you want it, or you can use a light brush to just lightly feather it in because you don't want to do too much blending. But that is how you can contour your nose. And then same thing applies to if you want to add a bit of shadow underneath this lip. I just taking a bit of that contour and popping it underneath my lip. Now, I have only used 3 colors. I have used my main highlight color, my brightening highlight color, and my contour. 3 colors. Now I'm gonna go in and add my blush. I'm gonna take just a bit of my Madrid blush here onto my cheeks. And then I'm gonna take my blush and bronzer brush. Again, I use the bigger end to blend out my highlights and my contours together. And I'm just taking the blush end. I could have dipped my brush into the palette too. I just use my fingers because you guys know I sometimes do that, but there's no right or wrong way to do this makeup. And then I'm just blending that out, okay? So this is my blush, and it is also a lip and cheek color, meaning that it can go on your lips. Take the bigger end, which I love this brush for blending because you can just use the bigger end to create no harsh lines. So I'm gonna take that Madrid color and put it on my lips. See how this is starting to come together? Again, I've only used 4 colors at this point. So my makeup could stop here. 4 colors. If you have a smaller palette, this is essentially what I've done is I've used my main highlight color, my brightening highlight color, my contour, and a lip and cheek color. I placed the products on my face where they were meant to go. When you are a new customer, you get a welcome email from me with a face map that shows you where to place the product. So your contour is essentially in the shape of a 3 on your face, up near your hairline, underneath your cheekbone, underneath your jawline, and then you put your main highlight color through the other areas of your face. Your brightening color goes around your eyes and down your T-zone, and then you have your blush, and you can do your entire face of makeup with 1 palette and 1 brush. The 3D brush is a great starter brush, okay? So you can stop there. Now I usually don't recommend the 4 palette, only reason being with the 4 tins, because you guys know me, I said it at the beginning, I'm like, you need the bronzer. Girl, you need the bronzer. So I am going to take my Bella bronzer, which is in my palette here. There is a difference between contour and bronzer. Contour is ashy in undertone, okay? It is gonna have an ash in undertone because it's mimicking a shadow, whereas bronzer is warmth in undertone. It is gonna have more of an orange undertone because it is mimicking a tan from the sun. So also different placement. Contour goes in the hollows of our face, underneath those cheekbones to really create a shadow and give the appearance and lift of those cheekbones, whereas bronzer goes on top of the cheekbone, okay? So 2 different placements. One goes in the hollows of our face, one goes on the tops of our face for 2 different purposes. So just tapped it, you saw ever so lightly, 2 times into that Bella bronzer, because remember, creams are highly, highly pigmented. Just like I said about the foundation colors, you don't need a lot of product with creams to give a little bit of color to your face. So I'm just popping a bit of this Bella bronzer onto the high points of my face, on top of my cheekbones, on top of my forehead here, where the sun would hit. You can even pop a bit of it down your nose if you wanted a little more warmth. Anywhere that you want to have a little bit of warmth in summer, okay? Ever so slightly, and when I color match you, I will color match you to the appropriate bronzer for your skin type as well. Now, I've used 4 tins. I actually really love suggesting getting a few lip and cheek colors if your budget allows, or you can grow into a few more lip and cheek colors. I like mixing satins with glosses. So I use the satin Madrid, which is this pretty color here. I've been loving using the color Boardwalk, which you can see is this gloss. It's got a shine to it. I love mixing that on my lips to give a more hydrated look and appearance to my lips. It's also fun to be able to mix and match your lip and cheeks. Some pretty combinations you'll see in my VIP group. This very daunting color, Black Cherry. It looks very dark, but it really isn't. It's got this really purple undertone to it, pretty purple undertone to it. I actually like mixing it with Petal, which is this really pale, glossy pink. So there's so many different beautiful lip and cheek combinations. Not purple, we've got nudes, we've got peaches, we've got pinks, we've got everything that will fit your taste. But you can create so many different beautiful combinations when you get your palette and when you grow into your palette and get other shades. Then last but not least, you can take an eyeshadow and create a little eyeshadow look. So quickly, I'm gonna do a simple one with you today. If I can find my brush, and I just came across my line brush, which reminds me, I was gonna mention to you guys that you can even use this palette. It's so versatile to fill in your brows. I just came across this line brush. It's got a spoolie on the edge for your brows and an angled edge at the end. You can just take a bit of your contour shade. When I color match you, I always make sure that your contour shade will be versatile enough to fill in your brows if you want. The great thing with this product is that everything serves more than one purpose. So if you want to use your contour for this, you can use your contour for this. You can even use an eyeshadow to fill in your brows. If your brows are similar to mine, I sometimes use the shade Oak. So you have similar color brows to me, you can use the color Oak. If you have a bit of a darker brow, you can use the color Trust eyeshadow. Okay, so I've just quickly filled in my one brow, and I'll fill in this other one here with my line brush and my contour. Now, why would you want to fill in your brows? If you have started to get more mature skin, you might notice with age that you start to lose hair in your brows. Super common. I started to lose hair at the front of my brows. I lose it more at the end of my brows. You can see that's where I focused filling in my brows, is more at the front and at the end. Just remember, when you are starting to fill out your brows, brows are sisters, not twins. They're not going to be perfectly symmetrical. So give yourself a little bit of grace. Fill them in. It'll make you feel a few years younger, and it'll just make you be a little less self-conscious about those sparse areas of our brows. Okay. Now, if you're new to eyeshadows, I know a lot of people will feel overwhelmed when they think about eyeshadows, but eyeshadows do not have to be overwhelming. Very simply put, pick one. Pick one eyeshadow. Eyeshadow does not have to be overwhelming. You do not have to do a ton of different colors. I know a lot of the time we get those big palettes from Urban Decay that have like 12 colors in them, and we feel like we need to use 4 or 5 every time we do our eyeshadow. But the reality is we end up using the same colors in those palettes anyway. With this palette, you get to pick what colors you want in your palette. So you don't have to buy those big ones that you're only going to use a handful of colors anyway. You get to pick what you want. And then when you do need to replace your favorites, you just replace the individual tin. You don't have to buy the whole eyeshadow palette again, okay? So very simply, like I was saying, eyeshadow doesn't have to be intimidating. I'm gonna take this color called Chai. It's this really pretty neutral brown, and I'm just gonna sweep it all over my lid. I could stop at just one color most days and just do a very simple look with my eyeshadow. This is an amazing brush. It is our eyeshadow brush. It is double-ended. I think it's only $18 American. So if you don't have a great eyeshadow brush, this one is great. It doesn't have any fallout when you're using your eyeshadows. It's really easy to work with and it blends really nicely. So I could stop there. I could stop with just the one color. I'm gonna take it a little step further and show you how you can do just a simple everyday eye look. So if you're still here and you're wanting to learn a bit about eyeshadow, I'm gonna just show you the beginner basics. All you need is honestly 3 shades for an everyday eye look. So a matte all over color, which is what we're doing right now, okay? I'm taking Chai, which is this color that is very neutral brown, and I'm using it as my base color. I'm putting it all over the lid, and I just did a windshield washer motion all over the lid. Next, I'm going to take, I'm just looking at my colors here. I'm gonna take Sedona, which is this brown. I was just checking, the labels are always underneath the color, so I just never want to tell you guys the wrong color. But I'm gonna flip my brush around and I'm gonna use the smaller edge of my brush. And this is where you're just gonna draw a V, okay? For those of us that are not super comfortable, if you're not super comfortable with eyeshadow, just draw a V on the outer corner of your eye with that product, keeping it in the crease, and then you're just gonna flip it over to that fluffy end. Remember how I said this fluffy brush does a lot of the work for you? And blend inwards. So starting out where that crease is, the outer portion of your crease, blend it inwards, okay? We don't wanna be doing too many swirly motions backwards. We just wanna be pulling the product in. That is just gonna give that depth to that eyeshadow look. Now you can do this with any eyeshadow color. Again, just starting with my V. I'm looking behind the camera at a little mirror. We got our V there, and then I'm just going to pull that color inwards and blend it out. Such a pretty color. To finish off the look, you're gonna take a shimmer, okay? Just make sure we're symmetrical here. To finish off the look, you're gonna take a shimmer, and I like to use my finger when I do a shimmer. The reason being, actually I'm gonna use, I think this is called Hot Chocolate. Let me just double check again for you. If I can get my finger underneath the, yes, it's Hot Chocolate. So next I'm gonna take this color called Hot Chocolate. We used Chai, we used Sedona, and we're gonna use Hot Chocolate as our shimmer. I'm gonna pop that on my eyelid. And I'm just gonna use my finger as a shimmer on the inner portion of my eye. And then if you really wanna take it one step further to make your eye pop, you can take a brighter color. I usually recommend Drift. Today I'm gonna use an illuminator because I haven't done an illuminator on my look yet today. And I'm just gonna take Glamazing. This is a really pretty shimmer color. It is an illuminator, and I'm gonna pop it on the inner portion of my eye. Using a brighter eyeshadow or a bright illuminator like I'm using here is just going to open up that eye, okay? So I'm just placing it in the inner corner, opening up that eye, adding a little pop to where you have your tear duct. And then because it's an illuminator and we haven't done any illuminator yet today, this is where your illuminator goes. It goes on the high points of your face. See that shimmer that's coming through? And it just catches the light and gives a shine to your cheekbones. Now, you might know this as a highlighter in another makeup company. A lot of makeup companies call this product a highlighter. Because we call like our foundation colors a highlight, we call this an illuminator here at SEINT. So popping it a bit on my nose, and then I'm popping a bit on my brow bone up underneath the arch of my brow. You can even pop a bit on your Cupid's bow. See how it just gives that shimmer? and you can really see it on my cheeks. But that is just going to add light and bright to the center, and pretty cool that I can use it as an eyeshadow to open up the inner corner of my eyes, and also you still use it as my illuminator. So that is it. My simple everyday look, all from one palette. Like I said, you do not have to start super big. You can start smaller, although I don't love recommending a 4 palette because I do think it's fun to have other lip and cheek options, and it's also great to have the bronzer. You can start small. You can always build from there. We've got palettes like this that fit your foundation, your concealer, your contour, your bronzer. And then, like I said, you can have that illuminator and those few extra lip and cheek colors. Or that was an 8 palette, or we even have 12 palettes like this that still fit your foundation, concealer, contour, lip and cheeks, and even powders in the back. So you get to build it as big or as little as you want. But how cool is it that that is your entire face all in one spot and you get to customize it? If you need help customizing, or if you are a customer of mine and you're looking for new shades, new lip and cheek shades, or maybe some eyeshadow recommendations, just send me a message. I would be happy to help you get started. Or in the link in my bio, I'll put a way that you can contact me, as well as fill out the color match form if this is your first time seeing this. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Please like, follow, and subscribe to my social media channels so you get notified next time I share a tutorial or share some inspiration, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.